Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. Anthony Lynn, how does this keep happening every week? Just how? I don't like making dumb decision episodes on recent things, simply because recency bias is a real thing. And there are plenty of things that look like the worst thing ever now, but we're not going to remember them years down the line. However, there have been plenty of moments that were borderline for this segment that Anthony Lynn has managed to put together, including what happened just over 2 weeks ago, when Lynn, for some inexplicable reason, decided to call a run play despite having no timeouts late in the game at a time where you really couldn't afford to have the clock run. I don't think I'm ruffling any feathers here when I say that Anthony Lynn is not a good head coach. But by God, somehow in the middle of a 3-9 season, and somehow after 4 years where he has continuously made poor decisions, he somehow managed to hit a new low. Some brief context, just in case anyone is watching this video in the future. It's December 13th, 2020, and the Atlanta Falcons are taking on the Los Angeles Chargers in what is a completely meaningless game. The Chargers are mathematically eliminated from postseason contention here. It's a 17-10 ball game, with the Falcons leading, and the Chargers are looking to cut the deficit before halftime. Sure enough, the Chargers go on a bit of a drive. Multiple third down conversions, including this pass by Justin Herbert to Keenan Allen, keep the drive alive. With just over a minute left, the Chargers have a new set of downs, and they're already in field goal range with 2 timeouts left, as they had to burn one earlier in the drive due to a Hunter Henry injury. Time should not be an issue here, and I cannot stress this enough. The Chargers should be fine. With just over 30 seconds left, the Chargers gain 5 yards and burn their second timeout. On the next play, Austin Eckler gets 4 yards, and the Chargers burn their third and final timeout. At this point, there are 22 seconds left and you're at the 8-yard line. You cannot run the ball, for reasons that should be blatantly obvious. And if you do get stopped in the field of play here, you better have the field goal unit ready to run onto that field to try that fast field goal. But remember how I said that you can't run the ball? Take a gander at what Anthony Lynn decides to do here.
He's got it straight ahead for a first down. He's barely giving enough.
No timeouts. Now you got to get to the line.
And you know what I said, first down. They marked him short. And now they're going to rush the field goal team out. This is looking like a disaster. Oh, what a disaster for the Chargers, who will not get it off. Flags fly as they scramble in kind of a snapshot of their season and will not get the field goal off.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that looked bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that looked awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Anthony Lynn. The insane part about all of this is that earlier in the week, Lynn was so fed up by the performance of the special teams that he decided to take over those duties himself. Don't get me wrong, the Chargers have always been laughably bad on special teams, and have always found new and exciting ways to push the envelope in ineptitude. But it's never been this bad. On the last episode of Dumb Decisions, which you can check out in the upper right corner, I said what happens when you get the quick field goal wrong. And here, not even 2 full days after I published that video, we have another contender. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a run on 3rd and 1 here and then not having the field goal unit ready to come on the field is a horrible idea. As always, I like to look at things from a risk and reward standpoint, because if the reward outweighs the risk, I've got no problem with the decision. Let's look at the risk and reward of calling a pass. The risk is that you could turn it over, just like every other play, even though Justin Herbert hadn't thrown a pick or lost the ball before in the game. And there is a risk that you could get sacked. But as long as Herbert doesn't run 30 yards backward, this isn't a huge deal, since Michael Badgley has never missed a field goal inside of 40 yards in his career. There's a reason he's called the Money Badger. As things stand, this is a 25-yard field goal, so the only way to get into potentially dicey territory is if Herbert were to lose 15 yards on a sack here. Considering the most yards he's lost on a sack before is 9, and he would have had to lose more than 50% on top of that to get into the 40-plus range, this really isn't a concern. other than the risk of turning it over or taking a catastrophic sack, I really can't think of anything else. The rewards are massive. You could get a touchdown, as you did on the first drive of the game after Herbert found Keenan Allen for a 10-yard score. If nothing's there, you can easily abort the play without having to worry about the clock. Unlike a run, you know for a fact whether or not you get the first down on a pass, since there isn't a huge pileup by the first down line on the ball carrier, so you know whether or not you have to rush your field goal unit out. And you still have time for one or two more plays if you throw it short and out of bounds. Especially when you have Justin Herbert at quarterback, a man who is the odds-on favorite right now for Rookie of the Year, and who is playing at a relatively incredible level, especially when compared to a lot of people's expectations of him. The reward easily outweighs the risk. Now let's compare that to what Anthony Lynn, for some inexplicable reason, decided to do, which was call a run here. There are two rewards that are possible, and when you break down the two rewards that are possible, it makes this decision all the more baffling. The first reward is that you get the first down. Good job, you got a new set of downs. But guess what's going to happen? Because the clock is running, by the time you get to the line to begin the new set, you've got to spike it. The first down is absolutely meaningless here. You either get stuffed and don't get the first and have to rush the field goal unit out there, or you get the first down and get a chance to spike the ball, moving up maybe 3 yards in the process. And there's no difference that close between a 25-yard field goal and a 22-yard field goal. They're both chip shots, Jake Elliott notwithstanding. As I said earlier, Michael Badgley has never missed a field goal inside of 40 yards in his career. You don't need the extra 3 or so yards here that a first down would have provided. The first reward isn't really much of a reward, but we can bypass that reward entirely if you get the second reward, which is getting the touchdown. If you're that confident that you can get a touchdown on this run, which is the only way that this call makes any sense, then I've got no problem with this. But let's look at the odds of getting a touchdown here. On the first 3 runs of the game, Eckler was incredibly productive, third. After the first 3 runs though, the Falcons held him in check. On the ensuing 5 runs, Eckler picked up 13 yards and failed to get positive yardage on 2 of them. Eckler needed 8 yards here for this to work. He had averaged 2.6 yards per carry after the midway point of the first drive. Why do you like those odds at all? What about those odds is enticing to you? Especially when the risk is that you can't get a field goal off and can't get any points. Unless the Falcons are playing prevent defense for some reason, or have nobody in the box, there is no reasonable situation where calling a run here is the right play. Alas, Anthony Lynn called a run. And I don't care that the Chargers won this game. It hasn't stopped me before. I made a Dumb Decisions episode a while ago about a fake punt in a 2014 game between the Raiders and the Chargers, even though the Chargers won the game, which you can check out in the upper right corner. Some things are just inherently stupid. You don't get magically absolved just because you won. If you're up by 7 and throw a Hail Mary on the last play of the game just because you feel like it, and the Hail Mary gets returned for a touchdown, but you still wind up winning it in overtime, that doesn't make the decision any stupider. All it does is ease the pain a bit and cool the hotness of your seat by a hair. After the game, Lynn said we cannot run the ball in that situation. And looking at the TV broadcast, it seemed as though he was taken by surprise that his offensive coordinator called a run here. But I'm still putting the blame on Lynn, as athletic writer Daniel Popper summed my thoughts up best. The fact that Lynn had no idea what the call was, especially since the Chargers just burned a timeout, seems like a lack of control on his part. If you have no idea what you're going to be doing after a timeout, then that's on you. So what do we learn from all of this? If you have no timeouts and are in a 2-minute drill situation, don't call a run. If the only way a run can be successful is by scoring a touchdown, then don't call a run. If you need a big chunk play and the opposing defense has stopped the run, then don't call a run. If a run is likely going to be the last play of the half should it be stopped short, then don't call a run. And if for some reason after all of that you are going to call a run, make sure that you and your offensive coordinator, at the very least, are on the same page about it. Because when all of these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL Trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JarroGator9 and subscribe to 60 Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. So you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.